It had happened. The gyms in our area had closed, and I was finally seeing results, progress. I didn't want to lose it. I wasn't a fan of working out in a park or running outside, so I figured I had to look for a gym that decided to be patriotic and remain open. None of the gyms in my area were open, and surprisingly, a lot of the businesses were supportive of the lockdowns, and the ones that weren't were afraid of the hefty fines. Looking for the gym would be a great mistake on my part, that I would later realize that I would pay for it. On my research, I did find one gym that was open, and it didn't get much attention because it was about 40 minutes from my area, right outside of my city, and it was actually the only gym in that area. And the name of this gym was Rogue Fitness. I thought to myself, wow, they are honoring their name. When I looked at the ratings on Google, I realized that they only had a 2.8 rating. Not great, but not terrible. But there was one rating that stood out of the rest. It said, "Don't go alone and don't go at night." But I figured it was just an angry troll that was furious for them that they decided to remain open. But when I looked at the date of this rating, it was from 2 years ago, way before the lockdown. I remembered that there was a young woman from that area that had disappeared not too long ago, but I wasn't afraid. Nothing would change my mind. I was set on going to the gym. I started to drive towards there, and it started to get very dark. And then I realized how lonely the highway was. No traffic. What was more concerning was that there was no police cars. None to be seen. My town was also in favor of defunding the police, so I figured cops didn't want to piss off the citizens. That, or they were very busy containing riots and protests downtown. I figured if there was any cops out there, that's where they would be. As I was nearing the location of this gym, I noticed a black SUV began to follow me. It looked a lot like a police or sheriff's SUV, but it was really dark and I couldn't really tell who was driving it, nor if it had any decals of police. I figured it must be a sheriff or a cop, and it's about to pull me over. I got to the location of the gym, and to my surprise, I didn't get pulled over by this guy. It just parked, 100 yards away from me, but it didn't tail off. It kept its distance from me, and I was not too concerned about it. I figured whoever it was just probably curious of where I was going. Well, I got out of the car and the gym didn't have a sign or anything. It was just a building with a door. And I figured, well, the owner of the gym probably removed the sign to avoid any issues with the cops. So from the outside, you couldn't really tell if it was a gym. I opened the door to this gym, and there was one person there in the counter. "Hey, how's it going? I'm new here, and I'm glad you decided to stay open. I really appreciate it. How much is a membership?" The guy just looked at me, stared me down, and I was like, oh man, this guy's probably gonna kick me out. "Hey, how's it going, guy? Well, you're our first customer for the day. I thought we were gonna have to close. I'm the owner, Matt. This is a 24-hour gym, and it's gonna stay like that. This has been my family business for a long time, and I don't plan on closing. It's $100 a month. But since you're new, I'll leave it for $50 a month. What do you say?" It wasn't terrible. I mean, I was paying $70 at my local gym, but $50 was good, especially if it was a 24-hour gym. I wasn't happy with the distance from my house, but I was set on working out and, continuing my goal. So I replied, it's a done deal. It's not a contract or anything. Is it just month to month? Jeff replied, yeah, it's month to month. So $50 cash, no card. So I'm glad you decided to give it a go. I need you to sign this paperwork. It's a liability. So if you injure yourself, we are not at fault. And I signed everything, gave everything to Matt, and it was a go. All right, well, enjoy your stay. If you need anything, I'll be here in the counter. Enjoy your workout. Great. So I started my workout. Everything went fine. Equipment was very clean. Not too many cardio machines or anything. I didn't want to go near the locker rooms or showers because it was a pandemic and I didn't want to risk anything. I figured Matt didn't want me in the locker rooms or in the showers, so I didn't want to cause any damages or make a mess in the shower or in the locker room, so I wanted to be a good customer. And my workout was a short one. It was chest day, of course. So I finished my workout. The whole time I was there, nobody came by, and I was very happy and a little concerned because I had the whole gym to my entire self. I didn't go in the lockers or anything again after I ended my workout. So I was heading outside. I didn't see Matt. So I figured, man, I'll just say hi to him tomorrow again. I got outside. It was pitch black. Matt hadn't turned on the lights for the parking lot. So as I was walking to my car, I looked at the tires and they appeared to be flat. Then I looked closer and my tires had been slashed. I was petrified. My car also had writing on it, some sort of graffiti. Red letters, "You should have stayed home." What sick joke must have this been? I went back and looked for the owner, for Matt. Couldn't find him anywhere. I also realized my car was the only vehicle there and Matt had left. I pulled out my phone and called the police. Nobody answered. Then I remembered the highway, how there was no cops. I figured these guys must be very busy. And then I tried calling my mom, calling my dad. I couldn't get any signal. I was in the middle of nowhere. My phone had very poor signal. I was on my own. Then I remembered there was a cop nearby, or who I thought was a cop. And I looked over and I could distinct the vehicle there, so I ran as fast as I could towards it. I figured that if somebody had ill plans, they were watching me. As I was getting closer to the SUV, I was running as fast as I could. I was out of breath. I heard a car driving towards me, fast. I looked over my shoulder and saw it had no headlight. The headlights weren't turned on. This guy's gonna run me over. But then I heard someone yelling, "Don't get near that SUV. Don't get near that car. That's not a cop. That's not a cop." I could barely hear what he was saying. And then I realized it was Matt. "Stay away from him. Stay away from that car." I stopped. I was about 5 yards away from the SUV. Matt got out of that car with a shotgun and shot at it. Shots were fired and the SUV fled, and I could see the writing of it said sheriff. I'm like, Matt just shot a cop. They're not cops. They're fake. They tried to kidnap the girl a couple of months ago, and they've been trying to look for people. This is kind of why I didn't want to close the gym, just to be on the lookout for these guys. My car was totaled and had no insurance. Matt had a really poor relationship with the police, and They didn't want to go to the area because he had an issue with the sheriff there. He didn't want to tell me why, but he just fended off any troublemakers on his own. But these guys were something else. These guys were impersonating police, and I let him know. That's not normal. They're up to something. They're up to no good. Matt gave me a ride to my house and offered to refund me the money, but I told him to keep it. I figured he needed it, and I would just go there after the pandemic. A couple of weeks passed, and then I saw him on the news. A local sheriff pulled over the police impersonator. He had his entire SUV tricked out to be like of a sheriff's car. A radar, shotgun, police vinyls. He had pulled over people and was suspected to be responsible of women that had disappeared in the area. And I realized that police impersonators were a thing, and that they were a real danger. So, guys, beware of police impersonators. If you were ever pulled over, do so in a well-lit area. You never know who is a real cop and who is a fake cop. If you like this story, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope you have a good night's sleep. Goodbye.